Okay, so year 8, we're now going to make the recipe on page 6, which is your meat and or corn ragu. So we're going to start. You've already chopped your your carrots and your onions from last lesson, so they're already prepared. You might want to put a garlic in it, so you might need to prepare your garlic. If you cut off the end, that should allow you to just really easily peel off the skin of your garlic like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to chop it using your bridge and claw methods. Okay, and the smaller you can chop it up, the more flavour you will get out of your garlic. So you can use the garlic press, but for now, because of the COVID thing, we're not going to use the garlic press. So we're going to cut those up this time. Okay, you're going to need to put your heat on. So make sure that's on a hot heat. Okay, make sure your cooker is turned on there, and then make sure you've got the right setting for where your pan is. So always take it off, turn it off, then on, then you can see that that is the correct element, and then you can put that on. So if you have meat, you won't need any oil, but if you have something like corn, you're going to need a little bit of oil in there, because there isn't the fat in there to stop it from catching on the bottom. So we're just going to heat that up. I'm going to put my corn mince in there ready to cook. This is frozen corn mince. So I'm just going to put that straight into the pan. So that is pre-cooked really, so we're only just warming that through. And I'm just going to break that up. The heat will break that up in a minute. And then I'm going to get my other ingredients ready while that's heating through. If your meat's starting to cook, you need to just make sure that you keep stirring it so it doesn't catch on the bottom. And you're cooking your meat, if you're using beef or turkey or chicken mince, you'll need to stir it continually. Then what you're going to do, now we've got a couple of different can openers here. So this one here, if you use that, you need to open it right out. You put it onto the can, and then you'll hear it seal like that. And then you'll need to just twist that round, and that's how you open with that can opener. If you've got this type of can opener, you just do exactly the same. It latches onto the can between here, you clip that on, and then you turn that round, and that will open your can of tomatoes. So they're ready. Then if you've got a tomato puree and you want to open the tomato puree, can you see there's a little point end on that end? You turn that round, push that into the tomato puree, and then that's open. So just a little thing for you to remember, quite a handy little tip. So my corn mince is quite frozen, so I'm going to get these in, my vegetables in there. Yours will be frozen, as I said, so yours will be in a bag ready to cook. You can add those in frozen, that's no problem. And then you're just going to mix that in with your mincemeat. But you'll add those vegetables when your mincemeat is brown. And you don't need to brown the corn mince like you do with the meat. I'm just breaking that down, continually stirring so it doesn't catch on the bottom. If it's catching too much, just reduce your heat down so it doesn't cook too much and burn on the bottom, because it is cleaning those pans at the end of the lesson that can be a huge issue if they're too burnt on the bottom. So you're going to stir that continually, and then what you're going to do, once that's all browned and ready, you can add your tomato puree and your tomatoes. So you put a teaspoon of tomato puree onto the spoon, and then you can add that in. And then you're just going to give that a little mix round, and you're just going to cook that out. So stir that in. Okay, once that has been stirred in, and your vegetables have cooked, you need to leave those until that caramelisation process has started. So you really don't want them to go too brown, but a little bit opaque, so slightly see-through for your onions, and then that's a good telltale sign that they are ready to add the other ingredients. So then once they're cooked, ideally you want to cook them a bit longer than what I am. I'm just doing this for quickness. You're going to add your tin of tomatoes, stir that in, and then you can season depending on what you would like to season with. So we've got some things here, so I'm going to give it a bit of flavour by adding a stock cube. So this will dissolve in here, but you just need to break it up. This is quite hard, this one, so I'm going to... So you can have a stock cube that's appropriate for the meat that you're cooking. So if I was doing if I was worried about this being for vegetarian people, I would use a vegetable stock cube. I'm using a beef stock cube in this just to give it a bit of flavour, because I'm not a vegan or vegetarian, so that's okay. I'm just going to put that in there. You could use a vegetable stock cube if you were a vegan or vegetarian, or you just wanted it to be meat-free. You could use a chicken stock cube if you were using chicken or turkey or pork. And then you've got your beef or your lamb stock cubes that you can use as well. Okay, so you're just going to put that all in there. You can add some things like fennel seeds. You can add things such as some pepper, obviously some salt if you've got some salt, but check, I wouldn't add the salt till later, because what you might find is the stock cubes are quite salty, so you might not need extra salt to put in there. I'm going to put a bit of chilli in mine because I just like that extra flavour, and there's also some parsley here that I'm going to use. So it's up to you what you want to use in there, just to give it a little bit of extra flavour. And then give it a stir and keep stirring that. Bring it to the boil, and then once you've brought it to the boil, you can turn it right down, and you just want it then to be simmering away nicely. Okay, so a simmer is just light bubbles coming to the top, not bubbling away furiously. So if you leave your lid on there like this stage, that will make the temperature inside there rise quicker, and then, but you will need at some stage to go back and just keep giving it a stir. And then you need to leave that on there as the recipe tells you. So that will be on there for about 30 minutes, and you need to be continually stirring. And then what you can do in the meantime is clear up and just make sure that you're all cleared up. At the end, give it a little taste, and if it needs any more seasoning, you can add a little bit more things like a little bit of salt, pepper, some more herbs if you think it needs some more seasoning in there. But as I said, wait till the end. A good indication that this is ready and cooked is if you'll taste a carrot and the carrots are cooked. That's usually a very good indication that this is ready. Okay.